Hello students, welcome back to our chapter photosynthesis and respiration in plants. So students, in the previous video I was discussing with you the factors affecting photosynthesis, that light, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide and water. These are the factors that affect the process of photosynthesis. And in the previous video I have discussed factor oxygen, which is formed during the process of photosynthesis, and then starch, which is the end product of photosynthesis. Although it is not a factor, it is the end product, and oxygen, it is also the end product. Now in this video I will discuss the factor light, which affects the process of photosynthesis. So for it, we have to keep a potted plant in a dark room for 3 days to remove all the starch from its leaves. So this process of destarching of leaves I have already discussed in my previous video. So in the fourth morning, then we have to cover a part of the leaves with black paper, and we have to place this plant in bright sunlight, and then we have to fix a black paper to the leaf with the help of paper clips, and we have to cover the leaf with black paper on both sides. Then we have to keep the plant in the sun till afternoon. Then we have to pluck the leaf and take off the paper, and we will perform the iodine test. Means we have to test whether starch it is formed in the leaf or not. Then we have to put some drops of iodine on the leaf. Then we will see that the part which is exposed to sunlight, which is not covered with black paper, that will turn blue black, because in that part chlorophyll is present, and that part is also exposed to sunlight. So the process of photosynthesis, it is done there, and then the as a result of photosynthesis starch it is formed. So that's why the in that part of leaf it will turn blue black due to the presence of starch. But the part of the leaf which is covered with black paper, because it is not getting the sunlight, so here no process of photosynthesis it is done, so no starch is formed. So this part it will not turn blue black. So it proves that light, it is an essential factor for the process of photosynthesis. Now students, we will discuss that chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. Now for it, we have to cut a branch of variegated plant, and this variegated plant, it can be like garden croton, it can be tapioca or coleus. These are the examples of variegated plants. Now students, variegated plants are those plants whose leaves are having patches of different colors, and these plants we can see in our school compound. In our school compound you can see that there are plants whose leaves they are having patches of different colors, like light green color, green and light green color. So students, I will show you one leaf here which is present here. This is the example of variegated leaf. This leaf, it is having the patches of this one green and light green color. Now we have to cut a branch of this plant, and we have to submerge the cut end of this branch in a bottle of water. Then we have to place that bottle in a dark room to free the leaves of starch. Then after 2 days we have to expose that branch to sunlight for a whole day. Then we will pluck a couple of leaves from the branch. Couple of leaves means we will pluck so many leaves from the branch in the evening, and then we will mark out the green patches on the leaves, and then we will test the leaf for the presence of starch. And students, you will see that when you put the iodine drops on this leaf, then the green patches of the leaf which you have marked green, that will turn blue black, and the light green patches, they will not turn blue black. Why it does happen? Because the green patches, they contain the green coloring pigment chlorophyll, which is essential for the process of photosynthesis. So due to that, the starch, it is formed in those parts. So due to when we put the iodine drops on those green part, they will turn blue black. But when we put the iodine drops on non-green parts, which is not there, which are not having chlorophyll pigment, then the leaves, they will not turn blue black, which shows that chlorophyll, it is also essential for the process of photosynthesis. Now students, we will discuss the significance of photosynthesis. First point it is that it is a process by which all green plants they make food. So a part of this food it is used by the plants in performing different activities, and the rest part it gets stored in the form of starch in their bodies. Now, when these plants they are eaten by herbivores, herbivores means the animals who eat the plants. So, when these plants they are eaten by herbivores, then this starch, this energy, it get transformed in their bodies. Then again they use a part of this food for performing their different body activities, and some remaining part it gets stored in their bodies. And when the carnivores they eat the herbivores, then this energy, this food, this starch it get transformed to carnivores bodies. So in this way, directly or indirectly, all the organisms present on this earth they depend upon the process of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis it is the basic reason for the survival of all organisms on this earth. Then most organisms they require oxygen for the process of respiration, and this respiration you people know that this oxygen it is produced as an end product by the process of photosynthesis. So if there is no process of photosynthesis, then no oxygen it is produced, and oxygen it is the life supporting gas for the organisms, so the organisms they can't survive on this earth. So process of photosynthesis it is necessary for the renewal of the supply of oxygen on this earth. Then third one is that photosynthesis it also helps to maintain the level of carbon dioxide in air. Now students, you know that this carbon dioxide it is produced in large amount in the air through the process of respiration, then through the breaking down of organic matter, and through the burning of fuels. So if this carbon dioxide it is not used by the plants for the process of photosynthesis, then the level of carbon dioxide in the air it would rise. And if the level of carbon dioxide it would rise, then you people know that carbon dioxide it absorbs or it traps the heat energy which is radiated back from the earth to the atmosphere. Then the carbon dioxide it traps those heat energy. So if there is more and more carbon dioxide, then it will trap more and more heat. Then in this way the earth it would become more warmer. So this trapping of heat by the carbon dioxide and some other gases it is also known as the greenhouse effect. Because why it is called the greenhouse effect? Because the greenhouse it is also covered with glass. So in the same way as carbon dioxide it traps the heat, in the same way the glass it also traps the heat. So that's why this effect of trapping of heat by carbon dioxide in the atmosphere it is known as the greenhouse effect. Now if the temperature of the earth it will rise due to the more concentration of carbon dioxide in the air, then it will lead to the excessive warming of the earth, and this excessive warming of the earth it is known as the global warming. Now due to this global warming, many disasters, many ill effects they are caused, like droughts, excessive then melting of the ice glaciers in the polar regions, and rains and floods, cyclones, etc. So these are the ill effects of the process of global warming. And then students, now we have finished the process of photosynthesis in plants. Now we will discuss our next topic, that is respiration. Now students, first of all you should know what is the process of respiration. Respiration it is a process by which the plants they take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And this exchange of gases between plants and atmosphere it takes place not only through stomata, but it also takes place through some pores which are present on the stems, roots, tubers of the plants, tubers of the fruits which are present on the stems, roots, tubers and the fruits. And these pores they are known as the lenticels. And these lenticels, students, you can easily see in this diagram. You can see on the surface of apple small pores. So these small pores which are present on the surface of apple fruit, it is called the lenticels. Now, just like plants, the animals, they also perform the process of respiration. So the plants, they also need oxygen to break down food for the release of energy. And when the plants, they break down food in the presence of oxygen for the need of energy, then this process of respiration, it is known as the aerobic respiration. And this process of aerobic respiration, it is basically same in case of plants as well as in case of animals. But some parts of plants, they can carry out, respiration without oxygen. So when the plants, they carry out respiration without oxygen, then that process of respiration, it is known as the anaerobic respiration. So it means there are two types of respiration. One is called aerobic respiration and another one is called anaerobic respiration. Now students, I will tell you that this aerobic respiration, it will result in the production of carbon dioxide, water and energy, while anaerobic respiration, it would result in the production of alcohol, carbon dioxide and energy. Whether the energy produced in case of aerobic respiration, it is much more as compared to the energy which is produced in case of anaerobic respiration. Now students, we will discuss one activity which shows that respiration, it occurs not only in case of animals, but it also occurs in case of germinating seeds, in case of floral birds, even in the growing tips of shoots also. Now here we will discuss one activity which shows that respiration, it occurs even in case of germinating seeds. So for it we have to take two beakers. Or we can take two wide mouth jars also. And at the bottom of each beaker we have to place moist cotton wool. And in place of this moist cotton wool, we can also place a moistened tissue paper. Then on the moist cotton wool, in first beaker, on the moist cotton wool, we have to place some germinating seeds, and in another beaker we have to place some boiled seeds. Then in the middle of the germinating seeds, we have to keep a cup, or we have to keep a tumbler which is filled with lime water. And in each beaker we have to keep a tumbler which is filled with lime water. Then we have to cover the mouth of the jars with the help of a paper. And then we have to put rubber band on each paper so that the paper, it will be kept in its place. Then we have to keep both these beakers in a dark room. Then in the next morning, what will we see? We will see that the lime water which is present in the first beaker, it will turn milky, while the lime water which is present in second beaker, where there are boiled seeds, there is slightly change in lime water, or sometimes there is no change in lime water. Now why this lime water turns milky and why this lime water doesn't turn milky? It is due to that these germinating seeds, they perform the process of respiration, and due to respiration carbon dioxide gas, it is produced. And students should know very well that carbon dioxide gas, when it gets dissolved in lime water, then it turns lime water milky. So that's why here the lime water turns milky, but here the boiled seeds are here. So here there is no process of respiration, because in the boiled seeds the tissues, they get die, they get killed. So in this way the no process of respiration, it is here. So in this way there is no change in color of lime water, means their lime water, it doesn't turn milky. But slightly, sometimes the lime water, if it gets slightly milky, then it is due to the fact that this some carbon dioxide, it is present in the beaker. So that carbon dioxide, when it gets dissolved with the lime water, then due to that the lime water turns slightly milky. So in this way we can see that this process of process of respiration, it is even performed by the germinating seeds. Now students, you can see the differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration in plants. here. So you have to learn all these points. And here there is comparison between photosynthesis and respiration. Now there is one question in your back exercise, that comparison between photosynthesis and respiration. So in that question I have already told you that you have to write the equations, chemical equations for photosynthesis and respiration. So you have to write these two equations for photosynthesis and respiration. Now there are some points of differences between photosynthesis and respiration. This also you have to learn. So here now I will tell you that this process of photosynthesis. Now here you can see, students, that this process of photosynthesis, it is exactly opposite to that of respiration. Why? Because the glucose and oxygen which are produced here as the end product of photosynthesis, they are used as raw materials, or they are used as inputs for the process of respiration. And you can see which are the raw materials here. They are used as, they are produced as end products for this in this process of respiration. So you can see that photosynthesis process, it is exactly opposite to that of respiration. But during daytime both the processes, they are going on simultaneously. But here the process of photosynthesis, they occurs more vigorously, they occurs at a faster rate as compared to the respiration. Now this process of photosynthesis, when it is going out, then a large amount of carbon dioxide it is produced, but a part of the, not carbon dioxide it is produced, it is used, but a part of the carbon dioxide which is required for the process of photosynthesis, as it comes from the process of respiration. And the rest part which is also used for the process of photosynthesis, it is coming from the air, which is already present in the air. On the other hand, the oxygen which is produced during photosynthesis, it is only partly used for respiration, and most of the oxygen it is expelled out from the plant body through the stomata, and then it goes to the, it enters in the atmosphere. While some part of this oxygen gas, it still remains in the intercellular spaces. Intercellular spaces means these are the spaces which are present in between the cells. So some part of this oxygen, it remains inside the in the intercellular spaces. So at night time, when there is no process of photosynthesis but still process of respiration it is going on, then at that time the oxygen which is required for the process of respiration, then in this oxygen it comes from that which is already present in the intercellular spaces. So in this way you can see that this process of respiration, it occurs day and night in the plant body, while the process of photosynthesis is occurs only during daytime. Now the carbon dioxide which is formed during respiration at night time, it again lies in the intercellular spaces, and again it is used by the plant for the process of photosynthesis in the next morning. So students, it is all about the chapter. So I have already sent you the back exercises, and question answers also I have sent. So you all have to write it in a neat and clean way. And students, if you like my video, then you please have to share it. You have to subscribe it also. Okay, thank you.